I just got a new tool. As you know, farming is not just about getting in a tractor and driving out to your fields and planting it, spraying it, then fertilizing and coming back and harvesting what you put in the ground. It's not that simple. A large part of time in the early stages of crop development, you spend a lot of time in the truck, and you spend a lot of time out of the truck walking the fields to see what's going on. So there's a couple of options you can do that are fine. Walking is time consuming. Now if you're farming a couple of 100 acres, no big deal. You go out, you walk the fields, and you look at them and you're like, oh, okay, I need to, I'm having a nitrogen deficiency. I need to get out there and I need to spread nitrogen down. Or, I've got some ragweed in my soybeans, and I have to come back with dicamba. Or if you've got extend soybeans, or oh shit, the ragweed and the foxtail are coming up in the wheat, and I had 360 acres of wheat, and fortunately I didn't really have any of those problems. But I've got a new tool that'll get me out to the field a lot faster, and it's easy enough to handle, easy enough to move around. It's not a side-by-side or a quad. Maybe out in the Midwest you can take your quads down the road and then go scout, or you go get a motorcycle and go scout through there. But I do a lot of county parks and things like that where a 2-stroke or 4-stroke motorcycle would be strictly frowned upon, or even a 4-wheeler, quad, or side-by-side. They just really don't want you on there with those things, and you really don't want to get a phone call from the county park commission saying, hey, we got reports that you're riding around the fields with a 4-wheeler or some sort, an off-road vehicle. So I'm going to get to the field here in about 15-20 minutes, and I'm going to show you what I've got, and I'm going to show you the versatility of it and how easy it is to take on and off your truck and get it done. Just get it going. If you follow my Instagram, you already know what it is, but there you go. Okay, so here it is. This is what I've got. I'm going to take it out of here real quick. It's really simple. It's not really that heavy. It's not light, but it isn't heavy. Just kind of pull it out like this. So that's it. This truck is kind of tall. They say it's like 70 pounds. You got to be pretty stout in order to actually pick it up. But this is the Hovsco electric bike, and what we're gonna do is I've got soybeans out here, and I have to go scout these beans. So I got to turn my power on. This thing been recording for like hours. No. So my power's on. Yeah. Level 1 is perfectly fine. Watch this. And I'm off. That's it. Just kind of pedal along, do your thing. So I sprayed Roundup on here. I even sprayed in there. Sprayed Roundup. And I know that I want to check my control, weed control. Yeah, I'm just running over soybeans. Isn't it terrible? I got to see if the glyphosate did its job. I'm seeing some wheat that's coming up through. But the biggest thing isn't the glyphosate or the weed control or the control of the volunteering wheat, is to see how much deer damage we've got. So if you've got fields like this, I mean, you can go way out here, and I could walk out here. But right now I'm riding a bicycle at 8 miles an hour. If I want to go faster or not even pedal, I have a thumb control here. I can hit that, and it's like riding a motorcycle. Right? I can really get going back here. So you can really get going really quick. You could technically ride between the rows if I if I needed two hands on the steering wheel or the handlebars. And I should have waited a little bit to spray this because there's volunteer wheat. This wheat was down, so when it was down, it's really hard to get it up with a combine, so there's going to be a lot more there. This is the back corner. So you saw how long it took to get back to the back side of this. I think it's 30 acres. And I'm not seeing any deer damage. I'm back to pedaling again. I don't see any deer damage. So there are deer here. I'm not gonna lie to you. There are deer here. I'm gonna go ahead and park it. Pretty simple to do that. Park it. Handy dandy kickstand. And it works really good. So these beans were drilled through this exceptionally thick mat of straw. I did not bale the straw off of it. There's deer damage here. See? The little bastards are coming out. They're just going to infiltrate this end. Now, I have a couple of options. One, I could come in with my organic fertilizer and lay that on here, and that gets a little smelly, but it works. It'll keep the deer at bay for a little longer. The other thing is I'm going to use Penergetic BWV. So Penergetic BWV is the deer repellent that I used last year, and it worked really, really well. And it's looking like I'm going to have to come out and actually spray the Penergetic to keep these deer off of here, because they just love tender soybeans. Now these were planted, I think, on the 8th of July. So it gets late, you know, it starts to get late, and the deer are just going to move. There's soybeans over there. There was wheat down there. There's corn over that way. But I got a lot of soybeans in the ground now, and it's time to just really take the deer off the fields. So this is the organic fertilizer, or what's left. This actually was on fire, so I'm not smelling anything there, but it'll burn if you're not careful. Yeah. So as far as the volunteer wheat's concerned, it's, you know, I'm gonna have to come back in here with glyphosate anyway, and I'm not sure. No, this is gonna die. It's been hit with the glyphosate, and it is going to die. It was only the other day that I sprayed it, so I'm pretty happy with the control that I've got. But I do have to put down that Penergetic, so I will start that process pretty much right now. So anyway, back to the Hovsco bike. So this is I was going to buy one of these things. I've been looking at one for a couple of years. I never did see the Hovsco. I saw different brands, and they're just these huge things. They're huge. They're like 1.5 feet longer than what this is, and just wasn't happy with the price. They were like $3,000-$4,000. This one here, if you look up Hovsco, Hovscout, you can get this in either black or this green color. My favorite color is green, so obviously I think it's a sweet looking color bicycle. It pedals perfectly fine without the electric, whereas I've heard in the past with other electric bikes that, yeah, they're electric and you do have the ability to actually shift them and pedal them, but they are not as as comfortable to ride as, you know, as you would think. You know, they're just not. So this is how you do it. Here it is. I got my foot right on that pedal. The second I start to push, it senses pressure that I'm putting on the pedal. Now I can pedal really slow, and it'll put just a tiny little bit of power to your wheels, or I can pedal harder and it'll put more power to the wheels. So yeah, this wheat, this outside round of wheat, really, I should have waited a couple more days. It's coming up, but the beans look pretty okay. They do, and there's several fields here, and it has a 7-speed shifter, 7 gears. So the higher your gear is, the, you know, you'll go faster, and it puts more juice to the wheels. There's 5 different sensitivities, 1 through 5. I have not felt the need to go above really 1, because it just, you know, are you going to pedal or are you going to just ride a electric motorcycle? If I want an electric motorcycle, I'd have bought one, right? So that's that field. That's the one that's closest to the woods. And I'm going to go ahead and stop here. And you just leave that thing on. This bike has a 60-mile range. I've charged it once. I've gone 13 miles and it's still on full charge. So what I'm seeing here is no deer damage. But I am seeing this wheat, this volunteer wheat. But it was sprayed with the glyphosate and it is discoloring. So it's going to die. It's going to die. So that's just that. Anyway, this bike is more compact. It's easy to throw in the back of your truck. It's easy to take out of your truck. Oh, and there's a little bit of, could be rabbit damage, but more than likely it is a deer that came out here. Yeah, there's some deer damage here. So I guess I'm going to have to go ahead and apply the Penergetic and allow these deer to go back to the neighbor's property and eat their beans, because I'm not going to put up with that. Here comes another plane. He's coming in. Now this is how I would have approached. He's wagging pretty good too, but he's got some more speed to it. Love the American flag on that though. Yeah, he's got American flag on the tail of that Hershey bar wing. I don't know what kind of plane that is. It's not a, it could be a Piper, who knows. Anyway, a lot going on. I didn't know that I would like the wide tires as much as I do, but this really makes it for really stable riding in the fields off-road. It is fully suspended. It has front and rear wheel suspension. Everything is really good. It's got what is Shimano shifter, and it's smooth, crisp. This is aluminum. I've had bicycles in the past that had plastic here and they get broke off, but this is aluminum, so it's really tough if you get up against rocks and stuff. That'll actually deflect the rocks from really busting that up, and it keeps your pant legs out of it, obviously. But really smooth operation. Really smooth. This is a gear reduction, load sensing electric hub. It is an SUTTO, so SUTO. This is obviously made in China, because I don't think there's an American-made electric bicycle out there, which is kind of sad if you ask me. These are welded seams, welded and polished, so there's a lot of care that goes into this thing. Really a lot of care into the build of it. The build quality is great. And the worst thing about this bike, and if you haven't seen it yet, what would you think would be the worst thing about this bike? And I've ridden bikes all my life, and I'm 51 years old. I've ridden bikes all my life. I don't think there's been, you know, my kids had bicycles, I rode with them. But the worst thing about this bike is that. Hovsco, you could do a hell of a lot better than that. You're talking an off-road bike. If you stand up on the cranks, it will launch you. It will launch you. It has that much power. There is no need to stand up and pedal this bicycle. So your ass is firmly planted on this ball-busting, ass-raping seat. And, you know, I'm sure Hovsco is going to be like, oh, I can't believe you're talking like that. I'm talking like that. That thing has to go. Get an old man seat on there, because that's what I'm going to do. At least make it an option. I mean, if I was a 18-year-old and I don't mind having things rammed up my ass and my nuts shoved to my neck, I would be fine with that seat. But I'm not. I'm 51 years old. I still love to ride bicycles. I need the exercise, and you do get exercise on this thing. But what I really dislike is the fact that I can't perform sexual favors to my wife after I ride this bike. And, you know, that's, you know, sexual activity at 51, you know, sometimes it's difficult. But you know what? That makes it a whole lot worse. So Hovsco, get an old man seat on there. You guys claim you know my channel, so you know that that's how I'm going to talk about your stuff. Overall, the bike, I love it. I really do love it. My wife says, are you going to marry that bike? Because if you're going to marry that bike, I'll just file for divorce now, and you can just have a free reign on, you know, marrying your bicycle. I really like the bike. And that's not because they allowed me to use the bike. It's just because I really like the bike. I mean, this is the best, most funnest thing I've ever had in my life. And it's quiet. That's what I like about it, because as I get older, I realize that noise is annoying, and I don't like being annoyed because I'm 51 years old and I don't like being annoyed. But this bike really does it for me. It really does. And I'll have more on it. I'm going to go check some corn at another farm, which again is hilly, and it'll really put this into perspective, how well it will perform quietly and how far you can go and how easy it is to actually get there by pedaling a bicycle. All right, so this is the corn. I came back in, it's been 2 weeks ago now. A week and a half ago, I guess, maybe. It ain't been 2 weeks. A week and a half ago, I came in and I put nitrogen down. A little extra nitrogen. This was a replant deal. And the reason I replanted it was because the seed sat under the ground forever. And you can see, you're going to see it here. You won't see any replant issue here. Population's pretty phenomenal. You look over here and you can see, here's the twin rows, okay? So you got twin rows, really just twin rows is the way it was set up. The corn looks pretty phenomenal. It's almost to the top of my head, you know, I mean, shoulder high for real. There's 160 acres here. I've just taken the bike around, and what I'm doing is I'm just looking to see if there's any diseases, funguses and things like that that I might have. This is from the fertilizer, this tip here, that tip turning like that, that's from the nitrogen, because I think my tracks are here someplace, right close. Yeah, right here. These are the tracks that I had with the spreader, and that's just damage from nitrogen getting slung out onto it. Now, when I put this on a week and a half ago, God, it might only been a week ago. It hasn't been that long. A week and a half ago, something like that. Corn was only, I don't know, a little more than knee high. This has gone through some pretty ridiculous damage from drought. It was so dry. I mean, so dry. But you can see the twin rows right there. Some of them are going to be good. Some of them will be not so good. The nitrogen that was on here, there's plenty of nitrogen here. Everything looks really, really good. The lower leaves look really, really good. There's no, this is another spot I came through with the spreader. There's no weirdness here. So, other than it has a rather high population, kinda, because of the twin rows that I ended up putting in on the replant. Now, this is a farm that was planted and then sat for 16 days, no rain, no sprouting anything. 16 days. I came back in, I planted it that afternoon. We got a half an inch on it. Then everything started to grow. So I figured that there was like a, dirty camera. I figured there was like a 60% loss in seed, you know, in sprouted seed. So anyway, I'm gonna hop back onto my Hovsco bike and head back across these fields. Now, this is perfect for what I'm doing. I have this set on number one sensitivity, because I don't know, I don't think I need any more than that, and that is what makes the battery last so long, is if you're on one. Now, if you're just cruising down the road using the thumb throttle here, it's gonna suck the juice right out of that battery. I don't imagine you'd get 15 mile out of it if you did that. But to actually pedal it and make it assist, it works really pretty good. So the corn looks pretty phenomenal, if you ask me, for what it looked like when, well, it looked like zero, like it didn't even grow. That's what my problem was with it. But once we started getting rain, we've had steady rains on this all along, and it's actually doing quite quite well, in my opinion. And it's all just opinion, because somebody could say, oh, your corn's awful short, or, you know, there's something wrong, you those twin rows are going to cost you. They might. I don't know. All I have to do is come up with 150 bushel to the acre, and we're good. You know, and we're good. I adjusted the seat on this bicycle too, so that it wouldn't like ram it up my ass. And quite honestly, it's a lot better than it was when I first got it. And I've now put, well, I just put another 2 miles on it, and my ass don't hurt. That's not gonna say that it doesn't hurt tomorrow, but yeah, this is a droughty farm. It just, when it dries up, it dries up. So now that we're canopying, you can see it's canopy, not quite to where I want it. I don't want to see any sunlight hitting the ground, and I imagine in a couple of days it'll get like that. But right now, it's not there. But this was all replanted. This field across the way, I shouldn't have replanted, but I did replant it. And yeah, so we're just gonna get right across here. I'm gonna zip across this road, and I'm just coasting now. Oh, hopefully I don't eat shit when I come out to the end of this road. The wide tires are awesome, by the way. Let's see what we got. I don't see anybody. Nobody there. Oh, water. Went right through it. Running over the corn. You can see, oh, why did that shift? Oh, I must have bumped it. So you can see the twin rows here. This is on the edge of the field, and the herbicide didn't hit it. And obviously my nitrogen didn't make it clear over there, because somebody else makes the hay here. And I don't want to, yeah, I just didn't want to deal with it. And the horse people are going to ride their horses around the edge of this thing and run this corn over anyway. So, oh my goodness. Huh. Like skipping off. Beautiful. You can see my oats actually matured here. I guess the Roundup didn't kill them. This is the corners without fertilizer. You can see where the fertilizer is, just where it isn't. If you guys are wondering if this bike is worthy of this job, I'm 220 pounds sitting on this thing. It handles it beautifully, fully suspended, takes the shock out. You know, when I was a kid, if I rode my BMX bike like this, I'd have been like, I got to get off this thing. But it's not like that. Oh, here you can see where I got a little bit too far away from the edge. We got to mow this edge, so it really wasn't worth it to fertilize it anyhow. Oh, there's a tree. Ooh, let me swap hands. Ugh. Oh. So here's this. Looks pretty good. This was not a replant. This field, for some reason, the corn looked good enough that I didn't feel it necessary to replant it. Now, that's got to be wet there. I didn't get close enough with the fertilizer. Now, so this is, let me park the bike. I'll bullshit here for a minute. Look at that. It's all wrapped up with vines. I did that when I was a kid, and I took the bearings out. So it's best to clean them out. You don't want the bearings to get all messed up from freaking vegetation, and it will take the seals out of them. These are really quality pedals too. Alright, so I just got done doing a 5-mile jaunt around the outside edges of these fields. Not all of them. A field up the road I didn't feel like going on a road, and a field across the road, which is really, really steep. And it, you know, I just didn't need to see it, because everything that I saw was the same. It was perfect. You know, if you're going through tall weeds, I'd say you're going to have to actually, you know, check your bike over before you leave the farm or the place that you're at. But as far as a tool, I know there's some older farmers that would never do this, obviously, but younger guys that, you know, that still want to be a kid. You know, and I can say I feel kind of young. Let's see if I can just turn those backwards and get them to come out. See, these are Shimano's, and they're really common. You can get these shifters anywhere, but if you don't need to buy new shifters because of, not doing it correctly, I would say just clean it out. I just went through some really tall weeds, so you just got to deal with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how simple it is to load this thing. And this is an F350. It's not a small truck. It's tall. And I'm not a weak person, but anyways, to prove I went 5 miles, I did. There's the number there. I don't know if you can see it. 5.1. What is that? 5.1 there. Yeah, there it is. 5.1. I went 5.1 miles. And here, I'm gonna just set you in the same spot I was before. Maybe I'll do it this way. And I would suggest you bring the bike over, pull the kickstand up, grab it by the battery and the seat, and she'll go right up. And then just kind of walk it forward. Okay, so I know this was a long video, and if you made it this far, I want to say thank you very much for watching to the end. This is kind of a hybrid video, I'm not advertising the Hovsco bike. I'm just saying that it is a very, very good tool. I mean, I haven't enjoyed a bicycle in so long. As you get older and you get more responsibilities, you kind of put the childish things away. But this is really a fun thing for somebody that's my age, actually, or younger, or even older. If you're healthy enough to pedal a bicycle, you can get on this thing, and you're not gonna feel like you just ran the Boston Marathon when you're done riding it, because the power of the battery and the motor just takes all that heavy pumping away. So if you think I'm a sellout, well, you know what? I'm not a sellout. This bike is, if you ever bought one, you would know what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. I don't advertise things I don't believe in. And yes, it is made in China, but you know what? You find me a bike that's made in the United States, and I would buy it. I really would, just to buy it. I love America. I love American-made stuff, but sometimes you just can't get those things here, which is a disgusting, terrible thing. But if you are in the market for one, I would recommend this one because I really liked it. I really did. And I don't say that too lightly. I really did. So if you're in the market, I think the damn thing is, let me take a look here. I got the thing up here. So there's different ones you can buy. And I want to say, let me return this. I think it's like, I don't even think it's $2,000, to be honest with you. It's not even $2,000. That sounds like a lot of money, but you know what? Go buy a little dirt bike, E-bikes. Let's look up e-bikes. We got an off-road model. That's what I got. It's $2,500 for that particular model. The cheapest one I've seen is $1,400. There's ones with baskets and stuff. The Hovsco Hovcart 20-inch step-through electric fat bike. It's $1,900, and you can get some different options as well. Not with the one that I got. The one that I got, I didn't want to have a basket on it. I may get another one, and if I do get another one, I want one that Teresa can ride. She never really rode a bike. She rode a bike when she was a kid. For about a week, and then her father sold her bicycle, so she just never had a bicycle. So I put her on this bike, and it's too big and bulky for her. They do make ladies' bikes, which are smaller framed with the same size motor and power. I was thinking about getting her one of those just to see how she'd make out. Now they don't have one for kids. William just will have to. There's a little attachment that you can buy for the ladies' bike that he can sit on the back and hold on for dear life. But there is a thing that I think I still have it. It was something that was bought when Timothy was a baby, and it attaches to the back onto the seat post, and then it's a whole nother bike, and he can pedal too. And I got to go dig it up. I'm pretty sure I know right where it is, and we'll see. You know, you can take it on and off pretty easily, and then William can ride along because he loves this thing as well. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, well,